All right, well, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be covering something a little differently. We're going to be covering more memory of the American Civil War. So behind me over there is going to be the main British fort in 1781 with the American Revolution. Further over this way is going to be the National Cemetery that has soldiers buried from the American Civil War. And then over in this direction, we have Slabtown, and even Confederates are buried over there. So this whole little area is very interesting because there's memory and history intertwine and intersect at almost the exact same spot right here. We might have the popular perception of the American Revolution. It's a war, it's campaigns, and then it's freedom at the end. And then over here, we have the American Civil War aspects of like, okay, now we have freedom for everybody, and it was a bunch of wars and things like that. And in reality, it's much more, there's so much more complexity to that memory can actually take over. And this is also going to be happening a little further over that way. In the middle of Old Town, Yorktown, is going to be a huge monument set up in the 1880s. It involved Confederate and Union veterans leading militia companies from all the original states. However, African Americans are not invited there. Even though they're going to be seen on both sides of the American Revolution, they're not going to be there. Not talked about a lot, too, is going to be many slaves that fled to British lines lost their freedom when the siege of Yorktown ended in 1781. And again, with the Civil War is affecting huge amounts of people. It is a war. It is brutal. And the memory and the history don't exactly match up. People maybe want to remember certain aspects, but the negative aspects have to be brought up through history. The aspects of people losing their lives, people losing their livelihoods, and the destruction it did to so many different people. And that even though freedom was gained to some degree, freedom was not entirely gained until decades and decades and decades later. And there still echoes a lot of that inequalities that happen. But that's a complex subject. It's better for a paper. But anyways, I'm going to be now wrapping up this series more or less. I'm going to be going to Eastern Asia, and I'm going to be covering more about the history of America in Eastern Asia, and probably more focusing mid-19th century and even aspects of the Civil War, including Confederate commerce raiders and Union ships going through there. But anyways, have a great day. Thanks for watching.